Welcome to Tibara's Den. My name is Whitney and welcome to today's speed build. Hope you guys are having a great weekend. But this is the first house of Gemini. If you haven't seen the previous videos, definitely check them out. The link for the playlist is in the description below as well as at the end of this video. But we are on, like I said, the Gemini portion of our Zodiac series. So last week we created Sims based on Gemini and their Chinese Zodiac twin of the horse, and then we created their house. And this week we created the first set of Sims under the Primal Zodiac, which combined your Western sign with your Chinese Zodiac sign. And so we of course are working under Gemini and combining them with each of the 12 Chinese Zodiac signs. And so this is the first house for the first 6 Sims that we've created. We created them this past week. So again, if you haven't seen those videos, definitely check them out so you kind of know the characters we are working with. But we have quite the group of Sims that live in this house. There's some similarities with them, but there's also some pretty big differences as well. And so it's been kind of interesting, trying to figure out what brought them all together and kind of figure out the layout for this house. So in the end, I decided that 2 of the Sims are in a relationship, and they're pretty well off. One's a judge, one's a doctor, and so they have this house. And then because it's the Zodiac of Gemini this month, I decided to go ahead and make each set a set of twins. And so we have their twins that live with them, and then there's also the last set of twins that live here as well. And I decided to go ahead, and the one is a writer, and so he was researching for his new novel and was kind of doing research with the doctor, and they became friends, and that's how they kind of got introduced into the house. And then of course his sister came along as well, and those 2 are kind of different from the other Sims. And so sometimes, especially the sister, can kind of rub them the wrong way. And so my Dr. Sim, the centipede, he's kind of the mediator of the group. But that's kind of the base we're working with here. And I've actually started working on the Primal Zodiac Sims for next week, for the next house. And there's a really good group there already. I think I just have the last 2 Sims left to do, and so I've done the first 4, and I really like them. And some of them I almost wish, like the last 2 set of Sims from this house, could have lived with them. And obviously, I'm kind of making the rules, but I kind of have a pattern I'm following. And so I'm doing it based on whatever their Chinese Zodiac elements are. And so, like, this house is the 4 earth elements, and then the 2 fire elements. And then the second house is the metal, wood, and water elements. And so I'm kind of following that, just to kind of keep me organized and whatnot. So I could change the rule, but I'm a little OCD, and so I can't. So, but anyway, the next set, there's a good group there too already. And there's actually a tie for story purposes between the bartender Sim, which is the one that doesn't quite fit in this house, and one of the other Sims in the other group. And so there is kind of a tie there as well, which I'm really having fun with this group. I see them more as characters that do have relationships versus characters I'm just creating, like I did in the other 2 houses. I didn't really think so much about the storyline and why they're all living together or anything like that. I just was kind of placing them all in the same house because they're all under the same Zodiac sign. And where these Sims, I'm actually kind of developing a backstory, which makes it a lot more fun for me. And it makes it hard though, because I really am getting excited about playing in the save file, but obviously I want to fill it out more. And I might do an extra bonus video for this group because we have our bartender Sim here, and there's also a bartender Sim in the next house, which is what I was talking about the connection. And I want them to actually own a bar together. Obviously, that's not an option. I wish it was, because you have, the option to own a retail store or a restaurant or a veterinary clinic. And I might do it where they own a restaurant, but at the same time, they also are in two separate houses. So I'm not sure how to make like a partnership work with them. But either way, I might go ahead and create the bar that they own for all intents and purposes, even though it really won't show that in The Sims 4. And so there might be an extra bonus video. I don't know yet, though. It just depends on how timing works out. If it does work out where I have time to do that, I definitely will. If not, then in the future we will be creating a bar for them, as we kind of fill in the community lots and things like that. So if you haven't already, definitely subscribe and hit the bell notification so you are notified when I do upload videos. But you can see we're working on the outside of this house here, where I've already kind of got the layout for the inside. And like I said, we have a judge and a doctor. And the other Sims are very successful in their own rights as well. And so I knew I kind of wanted like a very nice house. Like these are Sims that definitely have some money to utilize and at their disposal. So I knew I wanted a pool. I knew I wanted a hot tub, kind of a lounge area. We obviously have our bartender, and they probably like to entertain somewhat. And so I wanted a bar, but I really wanted kind of, I know I've said it in the previous videos, but kind of that air of sophistication, and that's kind of what I see with these Sims. Like there's a certain sophistication to them, and they definitely like to be in the know, whether that's socially or professionally. They kind of like to have a finger on what's going on and everything, which is why I placed them in Windenburg, since it's kind of the get together pack and everything like that. So that's what we're working with. Of course, Gemini's lucky color is yellow, but I kind of strayed from it a little bit. I definitely, have aspects of yellow, but it's not as full on like when I did Aries and like when I did Taurus, where I went full on with the color scheme. It's a little bit more fluid. And even with the original house for Gemini and Horse, I didn't go too heavily yellow on that. It was a little bit more yellow than I would say this build is. But this one, it's almost more like black or dark brown with yellow accents, if that makes sense. And you'll see what I mean as we kind of get into it. Just because, I don't know, it just worked better for kind of the Sims I was picturing and everything like that. Now, here I'm working on windows, and I struggled so much with the windows because I knew I wanted the bottom windows. I really liked how they looked, and it's a taller wall height, so it's medium wall height. And so I was trying to find something in the small wall height windows to kind of match, because you kind of have that arc at the top, and so it's not just like rectangular. And so I was trying to get that aspect. And so I thought about using these windows. You can see I'm placing them all around, but they were just too thick. Like the borders on them were way too thick, and I didn't like how it looked. So in the end, I ended up just deleting those. And I actually think I used Realm of Magic windows, because it kind of had the arc I was looking for, but they weren't too plain either. They had the little detailing, which at the top of the windows on the bottom floor have a little bit of the detailing. So not quite perfect, but close enough for what I was going for that I ended up using them. And then the empty space here I didn't like, so I ended up using these as kind of like a detail for the wall, to kind of fill in that empty space. And I actually really like how it turned out. Definitely not something I typically do when I'm doing my builds, and so it was different, and I enjoyed that aspect of it as well. And once I put the wallpaper on, for the outside, it definitely kind of brings it together a little bit more, because right now it's kind of plain. And sometimes I do try to put wallpaper on first, but sometimes I like to have like my doors and my windows, and it helps me decide on a wallpaper a little bit easier. So more recently I've been doing that where I do everything else first and then kind of figure out my wallpaper. And for this house, I kind of like the like stateliness of this brick here, and it did have like the yellow tones to it. Even though it's more gray, I still thought it looked really nice and worked overall for this build. So that's the wallpaper I ended up going with. And now just some landscaping. I didn't go too crazy with the landscaping. I did put a little bit more than what I would normally do. So I use these bushes a lot. I use them here to kind of fill in that space, and then on the back where I put the seating area to fill in that space. And then I also do it walking to the back because there was like this long area that was kind of empty, so I use those bushes to kind of create a walkway as well. And then this empty space here, I use these flowers and just sized them up. And then along the fence and along the patio, I do these little bushes here, and then there's the low-lying like yellow flowers or whatever they're called. So I use those to kind of fill in the space in between. And I've actually been using these flowers a lot. I really struggle with landscaping and figuring out what looks good. Like when I watch other people, especially like Aveline, she does such a good job with landscaping, and Sydney Macaretta, you know, and it's just like, how do you make it all look good and go together? And I know like Sydney Macaretta, you know, has done like tutorial videos and such on, you know, how to do things, and she just makes it sound so easy. Pick a couple of pieces and, you know, alternate those. But I really struggle with landscaping, and so this is kind of what I came up for this build and I do like how it turned out. And sometimes I struggle with like trying to fill in the dead space a little bit too much, and so like over here even you can see I go all the way along the line, which I don't think is necessarily, you know, quite what I should have done, but I didn't just like it at the corners for that side, and so I kind of went all the way down, and then it tapers off into the yard. And they definitely are people that probably hire like a gardener or a landscape company to kind of take care of things for them. And so this is the empty space I'm talking about, and I just didn't like how empty it looked, so I decided to put some of these like hedges back here as well to kind of just fill in like the walkway from the little patio area, and then they have like a nice little cozy seating area back here where they can just kind of hang out and chill if they're not having dinner or they don't necessarily want to swim or things like that. And then of course you gotta have a barbecue centerpiece for the table. I was trying to find something that worked there. Again, I just see them as having like those little touches of things that kind of make it, you know, more homey, not homey, more stylish, I guess. I can see them as again people that maybe hired like a interior designer or something to kind of add those touches that are very pleasing to the eye and things like that. Probably, you know, missed my mark. And it's so funny because as I'm recording this right now, the new pack just came out, and I haven't really played with it. I got it yesterday, and then I started working on the next Primal Zodiac Sims. And so I saw some of the new like cast items, but I haven't built the next house yet, so I haven't seen any of the like build and buy items, and I also haven't done any gameplay with the new pack. So, you know, it's interesting that the new pack kind of focuses on like interior decorating, and that's just something that's not my strong point at all. You know, I kind of just whatever I like and have like a very mix and match type style, you know, just kind of whatever I like and kind of make it fit. Like it doesn't have to match or make sense. And I definitely don't have like, you know, pieces that kind of draw your eye or anything like that. But so far, like some of the cast items that came with the new pack, and I can't wait to see some of the new build and buy items. Like I've watched videos, obviously, of the other sim YouTubers playing it, and there's so many pretty pieces, and it's been a long time coming for those pieces, and so I'm pretty excited because I think it will open up to be able to, one, I'll have more options and kind of be able to do something different, and two, like there's some really nice pieces. You could make closets now, certainly a lot easier because they have some hanging clothes and such that you can put the shelves on and then hang them, and then you can decorate the shelves, which I think is perfect. Up here, I really struggled to know what to do on this house as well. And so I was trying to put like little loungers, and I didn't like it. And I wanted kind of like a future piece over here. And so I was trying to find something to do there as well. And just kind of wasn't coming out quite how I like it. And I ended up finding this ballerina, which is what I ended up using. Kind of a bit different, but again, for the type of Sims I'm kind of creating, I think it worked. And like I said, they had the money, so they probably hired somebody to come in and kind of put things together. And then I just put like a little sofa over here. They probably don't sit out here too much, but maybe if somebody stops by or whatever, they might sit out here with them and chat. And then this dead space over here, I struggled to know what to do with as well. I ended up putting a little chair. It looked kind of awkward, so I thought about switching it with the little ballerina statue, but I didn't like that either. I like the ballerina statue in between the two planners. So in the end, I just kind of left the chair there, even though it's a little awkward looking. I didn't know what to do with that space. And then, of course, they would have music back here if they're entertaining or anything like that. So, but now we are finally on to the inside, which you can see I'm kind of jumping around a little bit. And I don't keep the layout that's down here. I do for the most part, but I kind of change it a little bit because it wasn't quite working how I wanted it to. So I do kind of change that up. And then up here too, I didn't need that extra hallway, which I tend to do a lot. Like I do this long hallway, and it's like you don't need all that hallway space, and so I have to kind of change it to make the rooms bigger and cut off the hallway. But I like how that floor turned out. The top floor, it's definitely a little bit different. It's definitely tight in the hallway as well, but I think I utilized kind of the space I had pretty well, and all the Sims have like plenty of room in their rooms, especially the master, because there's two Sims in there, and I was able to do like a desk for each of the Sims and things like that. So that was pretty nice. And you can see here I'm kind of struggling with what wallpaper to use in the hallway, and in the end I went with this yellow here. Just again, I was kind of going for more like sophisticated, and a little bit fancy, and like I said, kind of something like that they didn't necessarily choose themselves, that maybe a decorator came in and did for them. And sometimes I think it comes off as a lot, depending, like when I watch those shows and such. But you can see here is where I'm playing with the layout, because I knew I wanted the kitchen where the back door was, and so the living room needed to be over on the other side, but I needed a bathroom off the living room, and so I kind of struggled with that a little bit. And I needed one bedroom down here, so this is where I'm kind of trying to figure that out. So the bedroom ends up being in the middle, back behind the stairs. The kitchen is where I wanted it, and then I extend the entryway out a little bit, and then that little room off to the left there is the dining room. So you have kitchen, dining, bedroom in the middle, bathroom there, and then the living room. And so the Sim I put in the bedroom down there, she's gonna have to, go all the way around and through the living room to get to the bathroom, which isn't too bad, I don't think. And so this is kind of what we're working with for the layout. Kind of struggled with my lights here, trying to decide how I wanted them, and so I ended up keeping them kind of like the three. And this flooring I do end up using throughout. I kept the flooring pretty simple. I didn't go too crazy. Like sometimes I try to mix and match. I kept it pretty straightforward throughout, which was nice. And then the wallpaper, I do the same wallpaper for the kitchen and the dining room. The living room has kind of a similar wallpaper, just a little bit different. So I use this wallpaper here, and so like you said, you can see it's more black with like a yellow accent than like a yellow with a black accent. I thought about changing to those bricks, but I just didn't like it for the inside. And so that's kind of what I worked with. And then this is, again, kind of more black with like a goldish yellow accent as well. So, and now we are on to the entryway, just kind of filling it in. So I do some plants, a little entryway rug, and then I keep it pretty simple, and I just do a couple chairs and with a end table there, just kind of set things on. Again, maybe if they have a visitor, they might sit here and chat, get them a drink from the kitchen, and then just kind of sit here to chat. They wouldn't necessarily kind of welcome them into their home. And I actually like how these chairs looked with that table. I thought it turned out pretty nice. And then I thought about putting a stereo in here, but in the end it just didn't quite make sense. So I put that in the living room, and I just put like a little table here where they can maybe drop their keys or mail or things like that. And then I just kind of decorated it pretty simple. Like I kept it not too cluttered or anything like that. So I just have like the middle piece, and then I don't keep those pictures. I do like a little bowl here, like I said, they might put mail or something in there, or keys, and then I just do this little vase, whatever you want to say. And then I put the Gemini poster here and a couple of accent pieces on either side of it. I do these deer pieces. I just thought they were kind of, a little over the top, but I still kind of liked how they went with the overall style for this group. So that's what we're working with, and now we're moving into the kitchen. And I was going to kind of do a closet there, like an entryway closet where they could put coats and such, but that's so hard to do in The Sims, and it's going to be easier now, but at this point it really wasn't worth it. And since I made that the living room, I decided I can kind of open it up and maybe put like a bookshelf or something in there. And so that's exactly what I ended up doing, is put a bookshelf in that corner piece. And I wanted like a tall bookshelf to kind of fill it up. So I used this bookshelf here. And then this is where they have the TV. And then I put a chair next to the bookshelf so somebody can maybe sit there and read. And then, of course, just a couch and a love seat and coffee table, like nothing out of the ordinary here. And so yeah, you have your little living room here, and then obviously the bathroom's off of it. And I decided to go with black in here as well. Again, this set of this set of Sims, I really just didn't see like yellow being like the focal point for this group. And so I thought black was a little bit more streamlined and such, and worked better for these guys. And here I'm having the same problem with my curtains that I always have. It's an ongoing battle, and I wish they would just connect where I want them to connect. But of course, that's not the case, and so I'm struggling really hard to find curtains that kind of work. And in the end, I use these curtains here. I'm able to clip them to the side of the windows, and clip them in the right spot. And then this is a custom content lounger piece that I thought would be nice. They can kind of lay down and have a nap there. And then just a chess table for them to play chess. And then, of course, the stereo. And now we are on to the first bathroom. And obviously, this is like the communal bathroom if they have guests or whatever. But the sim that is downstairs also uses it. And I also put a laundry room in here. I like kind of doing that. I like having like a bathroom laundry room situation instead of doing a separate laundry room, which you could probably tell I've been doing it a lot. Decided to get rid of that window because it just wasn't working for placing the shower or anything like that. And I actually don't keep the sink. I'm not happy watching this back. I'm not happy with the sinks overall. I really struggled to find something I like, and I don't know why I switched from the sink. I know there was a reason. When I was trying to do it for the master bathroom, I think I didn't like it, and then I decided to just get rid of it for all the bathrooms. And then in the end, I used a different sink for the master bathroom than I do for the other bathrooms anyway. And the sinks I end up going with for this bathroom and the one upstairs bathroom aren't terrible by any means, but I kind of like the look of this sink a little bit better. So I'm kind of bummed that I changed that up a little bit. And then you can see just a small little laundry area, trying to figure out what to put above this toilet here, especially because the wall, that's the one thing I don't like about doing medium and tall wall heights, is you end up with like a lot of empty space, and I think it's kind of hard to fill it sometimes. And then this here, I'm having the same problem with the curtains again. And I didn't like clipping them to the side in this case because then it kind of was too close to the toilet, and I just didn't like that. So I actually ended up using these custom content curtain pieces that just go, directly over the window. Not completely ideal, but better than what I was working with. So that is the downstairs bathroom, and now we are on to our dining room, which I like how the dining room turned out. I ended up putting like the decorative world globe instead of the bar world globe, which I'm not quite sure how I did that because I thought the decorative one was like small and then the bar one was like a full size. But somehow I managed to do that. But I do put like the globe in the corner of this one, and it's supposed to be the bar. But when I went into gameplay and test, it just, view inspiration, for inspiration or whatever it said. And so I was like, no, I wanted the globe, and I just didn't have the patience to go in and fix it. So that's supposed to be, like I said, the bar, where they could go kind of get drinks, but obviously it's not. I do put like drinks above like the buffet table area over there, and then she obviously has the bar outside she can utilize, but I wanted something inside. And I wish like the wall pieces that you put like the drinks on the wall, they could go to, like, I wish they kind of functioned as a bar, and they could go to those to make a drink. That would be really cool. Obviously I know, Sims is limited, but that would be ideal, but obviously it's not. And struggled with trying to find a plant for this corner. I didn't like how it like cut through the walls or sat on the carpet, so then I just used that little plant. But these are the drink pieces I wish were functional, so you don't have to put like a full bar, but they could still like make a drink or whatever. I thought about putting like the protein powder and such. Again, just didn't really like it, so I ended up shrinking down the drink things shelves and put them in anyway. And that's kind of like my little buffet area. And then I just put some pieces, so like some olives to make drinks, some salt and pepper napkins. I end up putting these peppers here. I'm pretty sure, I don't really drink, but I think there is a drink that you put a pepper in, and so I thought, that worked. Some lemons and limes, and then a bottle of champagne, which is a custom content piece. And then I think I put like a bowl of fruit and the little pastry thing, which I had to shrink down so it fit under the shelves. But that's kind of what we're working with over here, and I do really like how it turned out. And of course you can see I'm saving a lot because I don't want to lose my work. And now for the kitchen, and this kitchen I absolutely love. I mean, there's pieces of it that I could have done better, but this one I was just kind of in the zone and I just wanted to get it done. I didn't do it. I did this all in one day. I think it took me like 8 hours or something like that, throughout the day. But I do like the layout of this kitchen a lot. Not necessarily like, I like the cabinets I use. I don't, or no, the counters. Sorry, I like the counters I use. I don't necessarily like the cabinets I use though. But I like how this little island piece sits. It's kind of a little bit different than what I've been doing. And so yeah, I really like how that looks. And then you can see here I'm kind of playing around because it's so dark, like it's dark on dark, which I didn't necessarily like, but in the end I kind of kept it. But I do have like the gold fridge and then kind of the gold in the oven to kind of break things up a little bit. And then I knew I wanted an espresso maker, definitely a family that would have that. And then I just have like a little microwave, and I actually put like a popcorn maker and the ice cream maker over on that little island, or not island, like little corner area what you saw. But yeah, I like the layout of this kitchen. I think it turned out pretty cool, and definitely a little bit different than some of my other kitchens. That's the hard part about doing so many builds. It's kind of like you kind of get where you do, you have your certain things that you like to do and you kind of stick to it, which it's fine, but at the same time, I do like to try to mix it up a little bit. And I'm trying to use some more of my custom content pieces. I have them, and I don't really upload my builds to the gallery too much. Like, if you guys ever want a build uploaded, definitely let me know. I have put a few on there, but and my gallery name's actually different. It's Nidra, and Nidra 87 on the gallery, and I do have some of my builds and some of my sims up there, but for the most part, these guys are just for me, and so I don't always think about adding them. But yeah, so I'm trying to do more custom content pieces, and I figure even if somebody wants one of the builds, or wants to download it or whatever, they could always just add things that to fill in what's missing. And most of my custom content pieces are for decor anyway, so it just kind of looked plain. But most of the time I use like the cabinets and such from the game. And I also don't limit myself on packs at all either, because I have all the packs. I like having the options. So, but this is the kitchen. I'm just gonna put up some posters or pictures, and I thought I see these guys as coffee drinkers, so I just went with that theme overall. But we are finally on to our bedrooms, and then I have like two of the bathrooms, but I think I do them after I do the first bedroom up here. So this is my teacher's bedroom, and so the teacher is the deer, which combines Gemini with the zodiac sign of the dog. And I'm not going to read everything. If you want to hear like the whole thing, you can either go back and watch the video where I create these guys, which was on Monday, or you could also just click the link in the description below to the website where I got my information from. But they're kind, loyal, they're intensely curious. They're supposed to be the biggest gossips, but I don't really agree with that, because my sister is a deer and I don't see her as a gossip. But they highly value friendship and loyalty. They're intelligent and quick-witted. They're curious. They master new skills quickly. They're not the most patient sims, and they tend to worry excessively. And they can be kind of prone to anxiety. They're pretty amiable, but they can be on the pessimistic side, so they need to try to keep an open mind, and they tend to get very focused on certain facts, but they do have good intention, and they love jobs where they can share information. So like I said, she's a teacher, and I see her, which I kind of pulled from my sister a little bit for this, because my sister has her degree in early childhood education and works like in like a daycare center as a teacher, and so this sim is a teacher, and so I went very purple, very like soft teachery vibes is what I was going for. And I have these zodiac calendars, which are very pastel, and I was so glad I was actually finally able to use it, because it fit perfectly for the sim. And so she has her desk, and then she also has her craft desk, which she would probably use for to make items and such for her students. So she has that as well. I didn't put a chair with that one, because she would probably just share the chair. And then of course she has her bookshelf. She has a cozy little area where she can kind of read and such like that, things like that. I like the lavender pictures that it has, so I put those up everywhere, just because she really likes like purple and such, and she probably likes the smell of lavender, and so that's kind of what we're working with. She has her little secret cookie jar there, to kind of snack as she's working on things, and then I put like a book and a little cup of tea next to her pillows. So yeah, that's my teacher sim, and I really like how she turned out. Like I said, if you haven't seen this week's cast videos, definitely check those out so you can see when I'm creating them. So this is where I decided to kind of change the sinks. And again, like I said, I can't remember why I decided to change them. I just didn't like how they were looking for some reason. And then I tried to go with these sinks here, and again, I just ended up not quite liking them. And so I ended up changing those sinks as well. And like I said, I don't hate the sinks I ended up putting in the other bathrooms, but this master bathroom, I do not like the sinks that I put in here, and I don't know why I didn't. And it's probably because I was getting impatient because I just wanted to do this all in one day. I didn't want to have to come back to it. And when I get impatient, I do things, that I wouldn't necessarily do. Like, I don't take the time to find something that truly works. And so you can see I ended up using these sinks here, which I like the kind of style of them, but the color I don't like. I think it's all wrong. And so I really, probably at some point I'm going to go back in and change them. And then I moved them so I could put the towels where they needed to be and things like that. But that's the master bath. Like I said, it's kind of just, I don't know, not my favorite by any means. And then I tried to change the color a little bit again, but it just doesn't look good, and I need to go back and change it. But these are the sinks I use for the other bathrooms, which I do like, and I think it kind of fits the marbling and such, kind of fits the overall aesthetic in the rest of the house, and the color too matches pretty well. So I probably should have just used this sink for the master as well, and I don't know why. Like I said, I was just kind of impatient and just kind of in a hurry, I guess. And so I ended up not using that. But that's kind of our bathrooms and what we are working with there. And of course, as you guys should know by now, I do like to copy and paste a lot in my bathrooms. Like, I just kind of keep my bathrooms very much the same. And so now we are on to well, first I gotta put lights in, but we are on to our couple room. And so the hummingbird is the first one, and she's twin to my deer that we just created, her room. So this is her twin, and hummingbirds move fast. They're constantly moving, darting from place to place, full of energy. They want to do everything and on a grand scale. They come up with a goal and immediately follow, unconcerned whether or not it's reasonable or even possible, as they think anything is possible. It's hard to get them to change their mind. They're constantly thinking, constantly doing. They have an enormous amount of self-confidence. They can kind of look before they leap, but they tend to be lucky, and most situations work out in their favor. And they like high level positions, or they like to always like do something on the side, like so they either look for small jobs that kind of go together but can kind of keep them constantly changing and moving, or like one very big job. And so for her, I made her a judge, and she's in the city, native, in the know. And then her colors are, she's a dragon. Hummingbirds are Gemini combined with dragon. And so her colors are gold, silver, and hoary. And then for her partner, he is the centipede, which combines Gemini with the Chinese zodiac year of the sheep. And they are sweet, caring. They always know the right things to say. They point others towards positivity in life, but they are actually prone to anxiety and depression. They try hard to be there for others, but don't necessarily like to be taken advantage of. They are smart and go far in education. They do best when they have variety in careers. They are excellent with children, and so can do well like as a school teacher. But in his case, they make great doctors, particularly pediatricians. So that's what he is. He's a doctor and he's a pediatrician. And like I said, him and my judge sim are dating. And so his colors, the sheep lucky colors, are green, red, and purple. And so I kind of went with like a green and white theme with a little bit of silver or gold touches in here. That's kind of what we're working with, since I'm kind of combining the two. And I went with more white, like obviously, silver, but that's not quite an option in the sim. And I like kind of the cleanness of white. And so that's kind of what we're working with here. And so she kind of has her side of the room, and then he has his side of the room, which I really, really like. And I think they, I'm not sure. I know I probably should be, but, I like zodiacs, and they're definitely giving me good inspiration for these sims, but I don't really follow, like your love life or things like that. So I don't know if these signs are compatible, like if the sheep and the dragon are compatible, or if two Geminis are compatible together. Like, I don't follow that, and I don't take much stock into it. So if you're really, really into astrology and you do, and I messed up, I'm sorry, but I just like the idea of, the Sims I created. I thought they would make a very good pair. So that's kind of what we're working with here. And I like this picture here, and I think, when she was younger, trying to become an attorney and then a judge, maybe her sister gave her that picture or something like that, and it just really kind of stuck with her, and so she kept that picture all this time because it's kind of a different picture than the other pictures in the room. So, but I really, really liked it, and I wanted it in here, so. But yeah, that's their room, and like so, they each have kind of their little work area, and they probably bring work home sometimes. And next up, we have our centipede's twin, which is a coyote, and he fits in with this set, but he also is kind of a bit of a rebel as well. I actually made him a secret agent under the villain branch, and for this sim, I kind of imagine him like he used to work for the government and such, and now he's kind of like a gun for hire type sim. And so they're innovator coyotes combine Gemini and the Chinese zodiac year of the ox, and they're innovator thinkers, brilliant strategists, and stubbornly dogmatic in their beliefs. They like to quietly observe, but are surprisingly opinionated and outspoken once they are comfortable. They're very capable and able to accomplish just about anything. They kind of are a contradictory sign. They want stability and freedom, new experience and familiar situations, adventure and structure. They can be prone to depression, anxiety, and addiction. They're forever wandering, trying to find somewhere where they can feel stable. But this can mean not just town to town, but job to job, idea to idea, relationship to relationship. They are good at planning how to control situations, and do have trouble letting go and kind of letting things go with the flow. They are generals by nature. They're strategists that are willing to do what it takes to get the job done. They are independent thinkers and have no desire to follow the rules. And so that's kind of why I like the idea of him initially going into, like the secret agent branch, but then just kind of getting fed up with all the what is it, red tape or whatever it's called, and deciding to kind of go off on his own. So he has all these skills and such and all this training, but at the end of the day, he does his own thing, and so he's just kind of for hire, and the rest of the household don't know what he actually does. His brother obviously knew he went to work for the government, and so he just kind of assumes that he's not allowed to talk about his job. And then obviously he travels all over, so he kind of has all these pieces that he's collected throughout his travels and things like that. And then he has like his own little TV area where he can sit and unwind on his own when he does get home from like a travel or a job. He can kind of unwind on his own. And I actually like creating the other ones because his aspiration, I gave him the Jungle Explorer aspiration. And in the next household, we have our bartender sim that is also a jungle explorer. And so I think that kind of ties because the bartender sim in this household, I know it's kind of getting confusing, but the bartender, which is a great white that lives in this household, I figure, they own the bar together, and she's also kind of adventurous, not necessarily a jungle explorer. And so maybe, he's dating the bartender from the other household, and will take her along on jobs and such because she likes to explore the jungle too. And then, my great white sim that lives in this household will oftentimes get to kind of go along as well. So, and kind of get some adventures, and they kind of hang out together while he's off doing his own job and things like that. But next up, we have my bartender sim in this household, which is the Great White Shark, and that combines Gemini with the Chinese zodiac year of the horse. And I love this sim. The horse sim I created last week is still my favorite out of all the sims I've created so far, but the Great White definitely comes in a close second. Like, I really, really like her style, which if you haven't seen that video, that was yesterday. Definitely check it out because I really, really like how she turned out. And I think part of it, the year of the horse, I just kind of like, I guess, that, the aspects of that zodiac. But for the great white, they like to keep moving constantly. They are restless. They are the most restless of the primal zodiac. They need a constant stream of new experience to keep them mentally healthy. They're very outgoing. They never tire of new people, places, or adventures. They're very social, love to talk almost as much as they love to be talked about. They have a lot of interests. They don't want to feel bogged down by anything that's, outside of their immediate scope of thought. They have tempers. They can get bored. And if they're not getting their way, their temper can kind of come out. They can be downright mean-spirited if they're having an off day. They have lots of hobbies. They like to exercise both body and mind. They lose interest quickly in their pursuit, and will ditch a project at any point in favor of whatever interests them more. They're more cunning than intelligent, so they end up doing well in school. Getting things done quickly is more important than doing them right. And so I feel like the idea, like I said, of a bartender where she's constantly getting a lot of new people and such. And she does own her bar, but like I said, she's in a partnership with, it's a seal, is the sim, from my next set of sims from the Gemini house 2. And I think that works for her because the other sim is able to kind of take on like the more businessy aspects, and kind of make sure the business is run right, where she kind of just gets to man the bar and have a lot of fun interacting with the people and things like that. So obviously she's a bartender and so culinary mixologist, and she's also an extreme sports enthusiast. It's a little self-absorbed, hot-headed, and adventurous. And so I went very dark. The horse's lucky color are brown, yellow, and purple. So I went very brown themed. I was trying to thinking pub bar vibes. And so I went with the chandelier here that is wood with the candles. And then I wanted kind of a brown wood theme. And so that's why I used this wallpaper and everything like that. And like I said, she is a little bit adventurous and probably likes to go on adventures when she can. So she has a couple pieces here and there that she probably collected when she was out traveling as well. And then she does have a little computer area and things like that, which when she does work on things for the bar, that's obviously where she does it. And then her twin is the writer. And so like you said, his backstory and how he ended up him and his sister ended up in this house is he was kind of researching for a novel, and so he was kind of picking the doctor's brain, and they became friends. But lemurs know how to express themselves. Their grasp of language is second to none, and they use it to get things they want in life. They aren't particularly boisterous or loud unless they've had a few drinks, but they know what to say and when to say it, and so they tend to be excellent writers and can always argue their point. They are naturally talented, but they can be manipulative. They're naturally deep thinkers who can be moody, and their imagination leads them to fantasies about how others are doing them wrong or how they're not getting what they deserve in life. And so they can be angry, jealous, and create unnecessary drama. And they can be led to superficiality because all that strategizing and persuading their way into getting what they want can cause them to forget what's really important in life. And so since they're excellent, with words and such, they make good linguists, language teachers, professor, writers, humorists, things like that. And so obviously he's a writer under the author branch, and he wants to be a best-selling author. His traits are erratic, creative, and jealous. And so I think sometimes he tends to rub the other members of the household kind of in the wrong way. But like I said, the centipede is kind of like a softer sim, has really kind of developed a friendship with our lemur here. And so he's probably always kind of acting as a buffer, going in between for the two, him and then his sister as well. I can definitely see that. And I think his sister probably cooks a lot for the household, which they do appreciate and things like that. But she's not quite as sophisticated. That plant was floating. I had to fix it. But yeah, those are the Sims, and this is the household I created for them. I hope you guys really enjoyed this build. I know this video was a longer one. I actually had to speed it up even more than what I normally do because it was over an hour long originally. So after I cut everything down, I had to speed it up even more. But let me know what you guys think about this build, and kind of the characters and such I created. That's my Great White Sim, which I really, really like. But I'm going to go ahead and leave you guys here for the rest of the walkthrough. And then, of course, as always, I do leave screenshots at the end, just so you can catch little details that you maybe don't see as I'm building or in the walkthrough itself. So again, just let me know what you guys think. I really, really enjoyed these guys, and I hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Remember to check back on Monday. We will be creating the first 2 Sims for the second house of Gemini, and that includes the other bartender that is in business with our Great White here, and like I said, is probably dating Case, our Coyote Sim. So let me know what you guys think, and have a great weekend, and we will see you on Monday. Bye.